Okay, we are here with Bowie. Bowie's on his last week of training. We got 5 days left in training, so we're going to demonstrate our core behaviors and our minimal standard or our benchmark for training. So I'll describe those two really quick. First, we're looking for a gesture to a sit, a gesture to a down, and maybe a lure or a gesture to the heel position. We're looking for the behaviors to be near perfect, and so the sit should be upright, forward-facing, erect. The down should be forward-facing and square, like the predator lying in the grass, ready to hit first gear and go. We're looking for the basic heel position to be on the left-hand side in a seated heel with his toes in line with our toes and its body leaning in or just a couple inches away from our leg. And we're looking for the dog to be able to hold those behaviors from anywhere from 60 seconds to maybe a minute and a half. We also want the dog to understand a place command. Place command is go to a place and stay. Could be in a stand, a down, or a sit. Our default behavior is stand, but sometimes the dog likes to sit first, and so that's okay. All we are asking for is this platform to be a place to sit and stay or down and stay and not move until I say otherwise. This is not a resting position, so we're not asking the dog to get onto the place and go to sleep. So it's just a tool to help manage the dog for a short period of time, along with some distractions. Okay, so let's get into it real quick. So again, our minimum standard for the sit is a hand signal. So he's gonna see my hand, come up with it, he gets into the sit, and he has to stay there until I release him. Okay, and so now the down position, same thing. We're looking for this posture to be forward facing and square. So I'm going to lure / gesture him into the down position. Come here, down. Yes. And so when he gets there, I'm gonna mark with a yes. He's still kind of hesitant to get into that position exactly the way I want it to. So I might as well mark and then reward it. Same thing, the stay is implied. He has to stay there until I release him. Okay, all right, the basic heel position, seated on my left-hand side. So starting from in front of me, I'm gonna show him my left hand, my left leg, my left shoulder, swing him around, sit next to me. Yes. Mark and reward him. He has to stay there until I release him. Okay. Yes. Okay, and part of the requirements is that he looks at me until I release him. Okay. Okay, as I described earlier, the sit is for 60 seconds and beyond. Minimum standard is 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds. And so when I get him into the sit, our expectation is he stays there with a minimal rate of reinforcement. Okay, so the sit is a temporary behavior, but the stay is implied. And so we're asking him when he gets into the sit, he has to stay there until I release him. And the expectation is that he pays attention to me or is at least looking at me, waiting for more reinforcement. Good. 60 seconds, again, is our minimum standard, maybe 90 seconds, depending on what we got going on around him and what my expectation is. If I'm too busy doing other things, I'm not gonna put him into the sit and expect him to just stay there indefinitely. Maybe longer training, maybe more advanced training, that could happen. But for him, we're under 4 weeks right now. No, our expectation is that he stays there until I release him within 60 to 90 seconds. The down would be the same requirement. He has a tendency to roll his hip. So if he rolls his hip during this demonstration, that's okay. I'll show you how to fix it. But at minimum, the dog holds in a down position for 60 to 90 seconds with a minimal amount of reinforcement. Down. No. Yes. All right, so he broke by rolling his hip over. I told him no, lured him forward. He got back in the down position the way I wanted to, and then I marked and rewarded him. So this is our standard here, holding in the down position, not releasing himself just because he hasn't got a food within 3 seconds. Good. But I want him to stay nice and square. This is an obedience position, not a sleeping position. So 60 to 90 seconds passes, and then I can release him with his release marker of O and a K. All right, so that's about 60 seconds. Okay, he can get up now. Same thing with the basic heel position. I want him to hold in this seated heel position by my side. For whatever reason, he's expecting a release, so I'm gonna release him a little differently than I normally do. I'm gonna release him out to my left and behind me instead of out in front of me with my right hand. And I'm also gonna do a higher rate of reinforcement because again, he's predicting the release or he's not clear on the duration of behavior. So I'm gonna bring him into the heel position. Yes, give him a piece of food. So normally I would, good, I wouldn't pay him as quickly, good. So I'm gonna pay him really fast just to say, hey buddy, good, I want you to stay here. He's getting a lot of food in this position, so he loves being here versus how quickly can I leave this position. Good. Okay. All right, so pretty good. He's holding there for 60 to 90 seconds, and he's not breaking this position. Again, we're putting the dog into an obedience position to hold there for some time while we're doing something else or trying to prevent a problem. And our goal is that they stay paying attention to us, not just forget that they're supposed to be there. The longer they pay attention to us, the less they forget about what's going on around them, and the more they realize, hey, if I keep paying attention to you, I keep getting reinforcement. All right, so now we're gonna work on the platform or demonstrate the platform. Platform for us, again, is a place to sit down or stand and stay while I walk away. It's a tool to help bridge the learning gap in adding distance to a behavior, such as the sit or the down. So our minimums is get onto it all the way up to leaving me to go to the platform. So we have a platform over here. Obviously, you spent some time familiarizing him with it, so it's gonna be a little bit misleading that it's this easy. Okay, so I'm gonna get him onto the platform, mark him with a yes, and then pay him. Okay. So that's the minimum, that he gets onto something and then stays there until I release him. Now, our added bonus to the platform is that he sits and he stays when I walk away, or downs and stays when I walk away. So the stay is implied. He should stay there until I release him with the word okay. So here I can turn my back on him. He knows to stay where he's at. Also, if he leaves this position, he has a place to go back to. Whereas if I was to practice this without the platform, if he leaves this position, he doesn't know where to go back to, other than maybe I should just repeat the sit position. We want him to know, go back to where you were last, or stay with your feet cemented in this position. Good? Okay. So another requirement for us is that the dog goes to a place and sits and stays, or downs and stays and holds while we can put a food bowl down. So a lot of times the stimulus of that sound makes the dog go crazy, and so we want to counter condition that, meaning that sound doesn't always mean I'm gonna get food right away. Maybe it means I'm gonna get food later, but it's not a cue for the dog to start offering all kinds of crazy behaviors. We would like that the dog sees or hears the food bowl and goes right to the platform. So come here, buddy. Okay, so we want the dog to know that if just because I put a bowl of food down or an empty bowl, the dog doesn't run and jump all over me, that it can hear a sound of food dropping in the bowl and stay where it's at. Good. And that he stays there until I release him. Okay. So now he can go get his food. And so we have a sit and stay for a bowl of food as one of our benchmarks for basic obedience.